Hey friends, welcome to the channel. Today we are going to be watching, I'm going to be watching the original Halloween movie for the first time. So John Carpenter's Halloween. I've never seen this movie before, and I first kind of want to give you what I kind of know about it, and then we'll watch the movie and I'll come back afterwards and react to give you my thoughts, that kind of thing. And if it lived up to the expectations that I kind of have for it leading up to it, if not, that kind of thing, all that stuff. So, first and foremost, I know that the Halloween franchise is huge. It's a very popular franchise that has like, I think 13 or 14 movies in it. I know they're just all over the place, kind of like the Friday the 13th movies, like they're just all over the place where some different directors come in. I know, like, I think Rob Zombie does one. They get super weird from what I've heard. I don't know for sure, but I know there's the original one, which I have behind me. I picked both of these up recently. If you don't watch my haul videos, I picked both of these up recently leading up to October, where I'm going to be watching some classic horror movies for the first time. So I got this one and the most recent one, which from what I know, the new one is a direct sequel just to the original. So they pretty much nixed all of the in-between movies and just said, this is a sequel to the original. So I know that. I know the popular piano music, that like da-da-da-da-da kind of thing that goes along with the, I think, opening of the movie and probably different parts as well. I know it's Mike Myers is his name. He's got the mask that he wears. I'm pretty sure, like, as a boy, he killed his sister or mother or something like that. So I know that's kind of the setup for it. I know it's a slasher movie. I'm excited because I haven't seen too many 80s slasher movies. I have seen the original Friday the 13th, and I didn't know till I finished that one that Freddy's not in the movie at all. Like, he doesn't come in until the fourth movie or something like that. So with this one, I know for a fact Mike Myers is in this one, and he's also in the 2018 one. So I might end up double featuring both of these today. I think I got the time, so I'll probably double feature. I'm gonna do this video, watch the movie, react to it, then set up the next one, watch it, react to that probably, because I got the whole evening to myself, so we're probably gonna go along with that. So before I keep rambling on any further, let's jump into Halloween. But first, we feast. Welcome once again, my name is Austin, and this channel is all about digging deeper and going further and to better understand faith and film and everything that's in between. I hope you enjoyed my introduction of getting into this Halloween movie, and I'm kind of intentionally put the title on this one of A Christian Watches Halloween for the first time because, especially being in the month of October, I tend to focus on the theme of horror, and I try to put kind of my own faith and viewpoint into that as well, because I think it's definitely something that's interesting and not typically done. So what did I think of Halloween? I made some notes I want to kind of refer to, and then I want to talk about kind of its themes as well. And that's mostly where I'm going to end up tying my faith into it. Before we even started the movie, I noticed in the opening credits, which I loved, the music just becoming more and more ominous as we zoom in on the jack-o'-lantern and the title. It said introducing Jamie Lee Curtis, so I almost wondered if this was the first big role of Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm not 100% sure if that's the case. If you're a huge fan of this movie and you know, comment down below. I'm curious if this was her first big role. I feel like it could be because she was fairly young, but I thought that was really interesting, and she did a great job, in my opinion, for if this was her first, or at least one of her first big roles. Next, I noticed and absolutely appreciated this to the max. That we didn't really get a good look, or at least an okay look, at the character of Michael Myers until like 30 minutes into the movie, and even then it wasn't very much. You don't really get a good look at him until pretty much the final act, and I really loved that and appreciated the movie even more for that, because especially when it comes to horror movies, my personal opinion is the less you see of them, the better it is. Because most of the times in this movie, for example, when you do see the character of Michael Myers, it was very quick flashes or blurred long distance, like he was a distance away and you couldn't quite make out exactly what he looked like, and so you're kind of trying to piece together all these little sections and portions of him that you see as the tension is building throughout the movie and he's following Laurie and the other characters around. And I really liked that. I really appreciated that they don't just straight up show you what he looks like, because it takes away from the ambiguity of him and understanding him, because I feel like as soon as you see the movie monster, where in this case he's kind of the movie monster for this film, they're less scary. Like, look at the creature of Alien, the Predator and the original Predator. Like, when we see less of them, they're more terrifying. And this completely applies even to this one, where the monster of the film is human, or is at least portrayed to look like a human. Now, the less we see of the movie monster, the better. That's something I'm actually going to talk about towards the end of the month. I'm going to have a whole video devoted to why I think that is and why we need to see that more. But we're going to save all that for the video. Let's continue talking about Halloween. I was really drawn in by the way the character of Loomis, the doctor, describes Michael Myers when he does, because I think he's only really described in like 2 different scenes, and when he is described, he's like described as someone who's just completely emotionless, feelingless, like no motivation. He doesn't have an understanding of right or wrong. He's just this pure evil. That's all that he is manifested as. And that really adds to the fear that we have of the character, because things are scarier when we don't understand them. If there is a motivation that is driving him to do these horrible things, you can kind of understand him and see in a way, and it kind of helps you relate to him. But when you just do not understand why he's doing these things, it adds to the level of fear that we have for the character and helps us to relate more to the characters and the protagonists of the story. So that was another aspect of the character that I really appreciated. Probably aside from the direction of this movie, I would have to say that the cinematography was my favorite aspect. Like, the movie was incredibly well directed by John Carpenter, but the cinematography took that direction and elevated it even higher. I saw a statistic that said, after finishing the movie, I watched one of the bonus feature videos that kind of talked about the influence that the movie has had on culture and specifically the horror genre since its release, and it was incredible to watch. It was just like a 10-minute video, but it was so fascinating to see how impactful this movie was. Like, it was made for about $300,000 and grossed a total of like 70 million worldwide. That is incredible to me. Like, this was an independent film project and it was made for such a low budget, made so much money. But I mean, besides that, it's just so well made. You can clearly see the passion that the director and all of the creative influencers and actors had on this movie. Like, it's inspiring to me as someone who is so fascinated by the kind of the analysis and study of film and am into filmmaking, to see that passion. And it's inspiring to me to, in the behind the scenes, like pictures and stuff of the booklet that was inside of it, like, they're so authentic and real. And the whole story, like, the movie feels so authentic and real. Like, it's just, could take place in any neighborhood. Like, it's just real. And I really appreciate that. Like, it's so simplistic, which is not a knock on the movie or a criticism at all. Like, that's a compliment, that everything about this movie is simplistic. The motivations of the characters, authentic, simplistic. Like, they're just regular teenagers. The neighborhoods and houses that they live in, they're just authentic, simplistic, down-to-earth, real things. And it makes all these different aspects of the movie, when they tie together, so much more believable and relatable for the audience viewing the movie. I can only imagine what it would have been like back in 1978 to watch this movie for the first time in the theaters. I'm sure it would have been absolutely terrifying because we would have not had anything like this before. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the theme briefly because I mentioned the character of Michael Myers is described, and when he is explained, it's not very much detail, but like I said, he's basically just described as this purely evil entity, I guess, because the character of Loomis doesn't even want to call it a man. Like, he calls it an it. Like, there's nothing human about him. I mean, even at multiple points in the movie, as we see, he's killed or at least mortally wounded to what you would expect to kill him like 3 or 4 times, and he comes back somehow. And I was trying to kind of wrap my brain around it from kind of my Christian mindset that I have, and I was like, you know, how do you pull like kind of a Christian theme out of this? Because that's just how my mind works. Like, what moral and spiritual themes can you kind of pull out of stuff? And especially when I'm looking into horror movies, I try to do that too, because I know there's some out there that are just like, I'm going to stay away from because there's nothing really redeeming within that. But I feel like even in Halloween, I pulled something out of it that, like, there are things, if not physical, tangible things in our world, but sometimes mental or spiritual things that we just do not understand. Like in Michael Myers, he is an evil with no motivation, no understanding of right and wrong. There are things in this world that we do not understand, just like that. Like, we cannot understand Michael Myers because he has no motivation, no feeling or leniency towards right and wrong or emotions or feelings. He doesn't care what anyone thinks or feels. And there are things in this world specifically that would come from that of Satan that are just purely evil. And we have to face those things. I mean, I personally haven't had to go through these things. I've been thankful that I haven't, but like, there's some people who struggle with some really dark, tough, heavy stuff, and it's hard to understand that kind of thing, but it is there and it is real. So I feel like if there's anything kind of redeeming that I would pull from this one, I mean, it's definitely an entertaining slasher horror film. I really enjoyed it. I definitely liked it. But like, if I was to pull something spiritual out of it, I would definitely say it's like, there are things in this world that are evil and that you do not understand, but know that they are real. There are people who face those things, and in a lot of those situations, it's only God that can pull you out and help you to face those things and overcome them. So I don't know if that's a perfect analogy, but I at least wanted to throw that out there, kind of see what other people think. I'm not saying that's straight up like the answer from God. I pulled that right out of my Bible kind of thing, but that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm really excited to see where the movie goes next. I'm planning on watching Halloween 2018 next week. I think I'm actually just going to watch it tonight, but my reaction video, similar to this one, will go up next week on the channel. So if you want to make sure you check that one out and get my thoughts on that one as well, make sure you click that subscribe button down below. If you enjoyed the video, kind of like to hear what I had to say on it, throw the video up a like. I would enjoy that. And if you had anything extra that you want to share with me, if you've been like a longtime fan of this one, obviously I'm new to this franchise, so I know like nothing about it, but throw something down in the comments, some kind of fun fact. I know one behind the scenes thing that I knew before I watched the movie was that because of the low budget, they only had like one bag of fall leaves because they recorded this movie in the summer, I believe. And so they only had one bag of fall leaves, and they kept carrying it around and dumping it out on each of the sets, and then when the wind would blow some away, they'd have to go get them. So that was a kind of a fun fact. I noticed that in like every scene, and I was like, oh, I bet those are the same leaves because of that one behind the scenes fact that I knew. So if you want to throw up something like that, that'd be cool. If not, no worries. Thank you for sticking around to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts. I look forward to continuing, as I said, and I will see you in the next video.